Hey guys, what's up? I'm Katie, your instructor. I am making a video for you guys who find it a little hard to just listen auditorially or just find the reading just not that engaging and have a hard time to focus. When you're listening to this video, or watching this video rather, please pay close attention to parts of it that will really help you understand your assignment that you're going to be doing. Essentially, this entire course will be focusing on how science itself is more of a process. It's constantly evolving and getting better through time, and it's just a way for us to better understand our universe. And as our understanding of the universe expands and improves, so does the science itself. So let's get started. Greek astrologers looked up at the night sky. They started to notice strange anomalies among the stars, which was that certain ones seemed to move faster than the others, and they seemed to wander across the night sky a lot faster than the stars and constellations that they observed. So they decided to redefine their universe, as I said at the beginning of this video, and make it more of an understanding of what this anomaly was by defining it as a different thing altogether, which was planet. Unfortunately, under this definition was very vague, very broad, and it encompassed way too much, which was just anything that wandered through the night sky, which would include, of course, the planets that we know also well and hold dearly in our hearts, which are Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Well, it didn't really include Earth because they just didn't add it into the equation, but it also did include the sun because it did wander through the sky, and the moon because that also wandered through the sky. But later on, this was redefined, of course, as we came to better understand our universe. The sun, it turns out, is actually more characteristic of a star and has all the properties of that. And so it didn't really, they didn't really alter what planet meant. However, they did redefine satellite, which was anything that orbited a planet. So that became our moon. Our moon is a satellite. In 1801, it started to become kind of obvious that this was a problem because we discovered an object named that we later called Ceres. And Ceres was a spectacular find. It was going to be the 8th planet, and we were so excited. Like, yeah, we have 8 planets. I never knew. It was so small. But as we started to watch how she moved about in our little solar system, we started to notice there were other things around her. A bunch of asteroids. And so we're just going, it looks like you are just an asteroid, Ceres. A really, really big asteroid, but nonetheless, an asteroid. So Ceres went from being a potential planet to just being an asteroid. Very sad story. But the real problem came much later. In fact, almost 200 years later. In 2005, scientists actually discovered something beyond Neptune. It was larger than Pluto, and they named it Eris. And this new celestial body even had a moon, and we were quickly calling it our 10th planet. We're like, oh my gosh, we have 10 planets. This is monumental. But darn it all, we found several more objects that were just like her. These were later named as Makemake and Haumea. And so we actually discovered that not only there was Makemake and Haumea, there were a bunch of other ones just like them, all about. And they decided to rename this area, just like we had the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. There was the Kuiper belt out past Pluto and Neptune. Because there were so many objects that were like that, and they were larger than Pluto, the question came up of, are all these things planets? How many more are there? Are there infinite number of planets that we just haven't discovered yet? How are we going to narrow this down? What is a planet anyway? What have we decided? What is the characteristics of a planet? And then we realized we don't have one, or at least not a good one. The IAU, or the International Astronomical Union, decided to get together in 2006 and finally hammer down what a planet is. So this is what they decided a planet was, or these are the characteristics of a planet. They have to, 1, orbit the sun, or orbit a sun, not necessarily ours. 2, it has to be large enough that its own gravity makes it round. And 3, it has to clear the neighborhood of its orbit. In other words, it has to be able to have gravity that is large enough that it actually clears a pathway so things aren't in its way. They then actually decided that they needed a new category, just like we had to come up with one for satellites. And they defined this new category as something called dwarf planets, which orbit or sun, and 2 are large enough that its own gravity has made it round, but it hasn't cleared anything from its orbit. So Pluto, unfortunately, got demoted into this group. So sad. We only have 8 planets now. But this caused other problems with its definition. So these are some of the issues that ended up coming up about it. 1, Pluto crosses orbit with Neptune occasionally, which means that Neptune technically does not actually clear its orbit. Things cross its orbit, so it doesn't have enough gravity to do that. So is Neptune just a very large dwarf planet? And then there's another problem. Jupiter has large amounts of asteroids sharing its orbit, so many that they have a name for it, and it's called the Jupiter Trojans. So again, what's the cutoff for clearing its orbit? Your activity will be to resolve this issue. Give us a clear definition of what you think a planet is, or what you think it should be defined as, and make sure to back it up with some solid reasoning. I did give you just a brief overview. I really do want you to use their articles because they have some great references on how you can scientifically approach this and have something backing your thoughts and your ideas, and can also help strengthen what you already have in your mind, or it could help get rid of any weaknesses that it might have. Please feel free to ask me any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Just shoot me an email, and good luck, everyone!